Hey, it's Rob Minton and welcome back to another Cash on Air video. In this video, I'm going to talk about Charlie Munger's quote that the first 100K is a bitch, but you got to do it anyway. I believe Munger made this statement way back in the 1990s at a shareholder meeting. I'm guessing it was a Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting. The quote has been kind of repeated and immortalized ever since he said it. And this morning, as I was thinking with my handy dandy notepad and my coffee, I was diving into that quote and I was like, why is that quote so important? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this quote is critically important, and it's not just for investing in the stock market. This quote is important for every important thing in our lives. See, we can take this quote and we can apply it to real estate, right? Your first investment property is a bitch, but you got to do it anyway. You could apply it to fitness. Your first, whatever your fitness goal is a bitch, but you got to do it anyway. Your first marathon is a bitch, but you got to do it anyway. Your first competition, bitch, you got to do it anyway. Why is that important, right? It's important to understand that there's a process you have to go through in order to get what you want. In other words, you have to actually become a different person in how you think in order to get what you want. So to acquire your first $100,000 in investment capital, you have to go through this process. You have to become a different person. You have to live below your means. You have to apply discipline. You have to delay gratification. You have to make saving and investing a priority. You have to become a different person in order to get to that first spot. Then once you hit that first spot, things tend to get a little easier because you now have the magic of compound interest working in your favor, right? So if you have $100,000 of investment capital, that capital can grow every single year because the more money you have in the game, the more money you can take out of the game. When it comes to investing in real estate, that first rental property is a bitch, right? Because you have to learn so many things. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to face your fears. You have to look at properties, understand numbers. You have to make offers. You have to buy a property. You've got to go through the closing process. You have a vacant home after you close, right? You got to fix that home up, paint it, spruce it up. You got to advertise it, show it. You got to do a tenant screening. You got to lease the property. Go through this whole process. You've got to become a different person in order to get the benefits from that asset. But once you have that first property, things tend to get a little easier, right? Number one, you have experience, knowledge, and wisdom that you can apply to your second property. So that second property gets easier. But you also now have income from your first property that will help buy that second property. So that first property you purchase will now be appreciating for you. It'll be providing you with monthly cash flow. The tenant will be paying off your mortgage. Maybe you'll have some tax benefits. So that first property then makes everything easier going forward. And if you don't buy that first property, all of those benefits are gone. The second property is gone. The other investments that the properties would have purchased for you, they're all gone, right? So there's a massive opportunity cost that you pay, your family pays, if you don't go through that first bitch phase. That first bitch phase is so critically important. And in my not so humble opinion, who you become in the bitch phase is far more valuable than whatever it is you're doing. Who you become to save $100,000 in investment capital is more important than the capital. Who you become buying that first property is more important than the actual property. One more reason why this bitch phase is so critically important, and it is so critically important, and I mentioned this earlier, is because it puts you in the game, the compound interest game, right? If you don't go through that bitch phase, you are not leveraging the power of compound interest in your life. So you have no money making money. You have no assets making money. And compounding is really just multiplication of assets. Your money's multiplying, your stocks are multiplying, your real estate's multiplying. If you don't have that first asset in the game, there is zero multiplication that happens, right? And it doesn't matter what asset we're talking about. You have to have that first one in the game. First one's always the hardest. You learn the most lessons, but it's the most valuable one. So if you are struggling on that first asset, just hang in there, man. Just keep at it because that first one is so critically important. And if you would like to learn how to multiply your assets, especially your real estate assets, you can get my free video below. It's a great course, and I show you how you can turn one home into two homes, and two homes into 6 homes, and 12 homes, and 24 homes. I show you how to multiply assets at an accelerated pace. Well, I hope this video was helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one.